Welcome to Hire, Lead, and Chill.
Here we go, everybody. It's 4/16, April 16th. We survived an eclipse. We survived tax day. We're 2 for 2. Let's see if we'll survive this show. So I've got 4:02 right now. Every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, just about every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We just jam along, get some people on, get some friends on, get some business associates on, and just try to give you guys as much free value as we can. So we're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We are, and we've got our podcast for those of you that can't see what we're up to. You can hear what we're up to, and I appreciate you all being on. Shawn with Hire, Lead, and Chill. This is our group, Hire, Lead, and Chill. We've got a recruiting company called Hire, Lead, and Chill, and we really service the whole service industry, and we find a bunch of, and when I say a bunch, I mean tens of thousands of people that we've found for our clients that own home cleaning businesses. So that's what we're all about. And real quick, just before I bring in my guest, Doug Brown, let me just touch a little bit for about a minute on what's going on with the recruiting industry as far as the labor markets that we're seeing. It seems like we're starting to get a little bit easier to find application flow, just a little bit easier to get some applications in, which means that anytime that expands up front in the funnel or up top on the funnel, that means that we should get some more people coming in. So in some cases, some parts of the country, it's gotten a lot easier to get application flow. So what we're doing is we're increasing our scoring system and the way that we screen just a little bit for those types of businesses that are getting a ton of application flow. Some are still finding it a little bit difficult depending on your labor market and where you're at. If you're in a rural area, typically it's a little bit tougher to find some people. Got a really good client that's in a real big time rural area looking for an operations manager right now. So we're really working hard on that. They're patient, but we're going after it. We're going to find somebody really, really good. With that said, one of the big things right now is if application flow starts to come in a little bit easier, you're going to really want to focus on screening these candidates that come in. That's the name of the game, because if your application flow goes like this and you get more and more, and we get more and more, how are you going to be able to pick and choose which one of those you should be interviewing? We've got a scoring system and a screening system that helps with that, especially with technicians, but also for sales, ops managers, lead techs, project managers, and all that sort of stuff. So that's the recruiting game. I'm going to bring in Doug Brown. Doug, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How about yourself, Shawn?
Good, man. How's the family doing?
Family's doing good. Growing, thriving. They're all fighting vegetables for the garden is what I was told they were going to do. Why my dad was going to do his podcast. So there was no screaming, fighting, or hooting or hollering, or we can get this in without names being yelled, and
That's
how it goes with kids. Well, you got the teenagers. I got the little ones.
Yeah. Hold on tight, man, because it goes fast. I'd do anything to have them back to 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, just for a little bit. I love them now and they're good, but the older they get, the further they go away, and that's all right. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. 7 years have went by, and I can't believe that my little one's going to be 7 already. And I'm like, I don't know where the 7 years went.
Yeah, it's crazy. Why don't you tell the people that are listening a little bit more about you and what you're up to, and how we got to get together and all that stuff, and we'll go from there. See where we roll, man.
Yeah. So I am out of eastern Pennsylvania, little town, rural area called Robizonia. Not many people know of it, but yeah, we live out here on 20 acres. I got horses, cattle. So
Right.
I run a home service business on the landscaping side. We offer commercial and residential mowing. We offer mulching, anything needs to be done with your landscape. We take care of it, fertilizing, and thinking about getting into asphalt seal coating and power washing to keep we got a lot of asphalt driveways. Why not service them too while we're there?
Yeah.
Make it a true one-stop shop.
Wait a minute. I got to write some of this down. That's news to me. Hang on here.
Yeah, that's.
So I got a buddy of mine in Northeast Ohio here in Geauga County, not too far from you, actually, probably. Maybe an hour?
The Ohio state line's like 4 hours.
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, you're Eastern. That's right.
Yeah, I'm Eastern.
Right. Not Western. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're quite a ways. But with that said, I've got a really good friend of mine. I've known my mom just a few minutes longer than I've known him. That's how long and how far back we go, preschool, everything, man. We used to years ago, we used to be in his basement singing Elvis Presley songs. That's how old I am. For his mom, like when we were 5 years old, we'd have the fake guitar and the fake drums, and she'd sit there with a cigarette in her mouth in the basement, just probably going like this. What am I doing? And we'd entertain her. So I thought
they smoked and you turned out just fine. I'm beginning to believe that whole cigarette thing's crazy. Like
it is. Hey, I turned out pretty good. That's just the way it was. And the cars and the houses, it didn't matter, man. But he owns an asphalt company. And so he's owned it now for probably 30 years. His dad owned it before that. And he's had a shovel in his hand and a rake in his hand since I can remember. He's a good dude, and he wanted me to get into some seal coating with him and just kind of start that years ago. We did it for like a summer, I think, and then I went off to college and I never got back to it. But that is a pretty. Do you know anybody in the asphalt business, or is it just clients that you're seeing?
So I don't really know anybody. I know I follow a couple people on LinkedIn that are not in my area that are in the asphalt business. One guy up in New York, another guy from New Jersey named Steve. And there's a couple other people I follow that always posting, key things and just educating the people. And I think it's the education that draws me. I come from a construction background. I grew up, I'm a farm kid as I grew up. So from the time that I could hold a steering wheel, I was holding the steering wheel. I can remember hauling 8 years old, pulling loaded hay wagons out of the field with a 2-wheel drive tractor, and Dad being like, "Listen, you got to take it nice and slow down this hill because the only set of brakes you got are the 2 tires you're sitting above.
Right.
And if you get going down the hill too fast, hold on and steer tight and do not roll my tractor over."
Right.
I went for a couple wild rides until I figured out exactly what he was talking about, and then it was a game. Yeah, how fast we could go down the hill without rolling the wagon and the tractor over, and we've never rolled any over, but
And pissing Dad off.
Oh well, yeah, that came a lot. There was a lot of that.
That's awesome,
man. A lot of that. He's thankful he got one son and one daughter because he says sometimes I don't know how to deal with 2 of you.
Dude, I'll tell you what. My mom is the second youngest of 14, and so every Sunday we'd go to my grandma and grandpa's farm, and it was every Sunday. It was tons of food. Cousins all over the place, running around like crazy. Neighbors that knew him. I used to bale hay about 8, 9, 10 years old, help baling hay.
Yep.
On the other side of the street because the neighbors had a bunch of land back there. So yeah, I know. I used to love it, man. I used to love, for whatever reason. I mean, it was tough work, but I used to love baling hay and my arms are all chopped up and scratched up at the end of the day and everything else, man. I loved it.
I think it's the rewarding part in a good, hard day's worth of work because I leave the landscaping company, and the landscaping company takes a lot for me to run it where I'm at. I'm trying to grow, into a multi-million. I'm right now, the $500,000 mark, trying to shoot for $1 million this year. In 2 years, I'm hoping to be over the 3, 5, 10. Yep. I don't know. 10's about as far as I've thought about, but 10's not enough now. We got to go farther than 10. I need to put my name out there on the board, and I leave the landscaping company when we do hay, and I go back to doing hay. I don't do a whole lot in the farm anymore. My cousins have taken over a little more because it was my father and his brother, and the cousins are more into it than I am. That's why I'm landscaping. But when it comes to hay time, I got to be back for hay and straw. Yeah. Hay and straw are the two things that I will stop when I'm doing, clear my schedule. I have schedules on my week, and that's where it's at.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's a hell of a way to grow up, and I would. I wouldn't take anything back from that, man. That was just a great way to grow up. It was so super tight, hard work, good, clean, hard work, man. So let's talk about your you got some high expectations. You've got some high goals, high standards set for yourself, which is cool. But you're a pretty even keeled guy too. You're not one of these guys that goes off the charts. And I just see. I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
When we're too excitable way up here and then way down here, that's when you get in trouble. It's kind of like that. If you're even keel, I always said, and I don't know if this is right or not, but I used to say, you shouldn't be able to tell a guy by how much money he has or if he's going bankrupt. If he's a millionaire or going bankrupt, if he's even keeled, he'll one way or another figure it out, get out of it,
yes,
and go and not panic to a point where you can't think.
Yes. Well, I've opened up about my story, we had two very low snow winters back to back, and last year I was almost that bankrupt guy, and most of my close family friends never even knew that. I mean, we were cashing checks to make payroll the next week, and we have turned that ship around. We are not out of the clear yet. There's still a rocky road ahead of us, but we are a much better financial point than we are this time. And my biggest thing is I love to give back. The kids' school, the softball. I have my name on the softball fence down the bottom of the mountain. We have in the little town here. We do fireworks and a town get together day, and I sponsor quite a few things. I have my name on a raffle ticket to give a free landscape job away in the fall. So it's all about giving back to the community. I think if you give back, it comes back around to you.
Yep. Absolutely. So. Absolutely, man. And it's a cool thing to talk to you and get to know you, where, when somebody's going through some tough times, which I don't know of too many business owners or entrepreneurs that haven't. I certainly have. I remember staring at a ceiling, wondering how I'm going to make payroll. I remember staring at a ceiling, and then coupled with, it's hard to talk to a spouse about that. It's hard to talk to family about that, or anybody that hasn't been through it. And so a lot of us just don't. I used to be one where I didn't want to worry my wife about stuff. And so then I have to be even keeled, and I have to know that I'm going to get through it. I've got faith that I can get through it. But it's not easy, man. And it's falling down. It's one thing to fall down when you're walking. It's another to fall down from a bridge sometimes and wonder how you're going to land. And that's kind of what you were facing a little bit. Yeah,
it is. The only good thing is I do have a very supportive wife. She knows what we do.
Huge.
She tells me all the time now. We've been married 6-7 years now. 6. Dating 8.
Yeah.
And she's like, I never thought, when I seen you where we go back like a long time. We knew each other back in the day as kids. We actually grew up around each other. And she's like, I never realized what I was getting myself into when I married you. Like, you're always running, stuff, and never I never told her the dream, and now she sees the dream, and I can go to her with the money issues, and she doesn't have the answers, but she'll tell me that we'll figure it out. We'll we got to go get a loan to make payroll. We'll borrow off the line of credit. We'll make this deal. We'll make that deal. We'll get through this. She's really been a huge support of what we do.
That doesn't happen all the time, so that's huge, man. That's a great thing. It's hard if you're, and I know people that have had spouse issues that were like, would you just please go get a job already? This is just killing me or something. And some people have, and that's okay, but it's an important thing to have that open and honest conversation, because most of the time I've been married a long time. Most of the time I have with my wife, but there was a time where I wasn't. And it really was something that I was disappointed in myself at, because it wasn't fair to her. I should have talked to her a little bit more about some things, and it just wasn't fair to her. And then when it came out, like, hey, I probably should have told you about this earlier, but, and then it's like, why didn't you tell me about it earlier? I don't understand. It's like because I learned my lesson, and that doesn't happen anymore. Didn't happen anymore. And it's not going to happen anymore.
The only thing I can say that we don't talk to about, and I do, that makes her upset, is I find great deals on a pickup truck, a piece of equipment, something, and next thing you know, it's being delivered, dropped off. God only knows why, and she comes home and what is this?
Yeah.
And I always paint the picture of if I'm buying a piece of equipment, how beautiful the piece of equipment is and how great it is. And then it shows up and it's really questionable. It's a good deal, but it doesn't look like it was a good deal. And we've got some things around here that she has gotten upset about, but in the end, it's always been a good purchase.
Yeah. Well, those are income producing things. Those are okay,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. Most of the times, yes. There is a small wheel loader that lives at my house that was bought to run for the landscaping company, and my daughter, and they use it to move the horse stuff around and manure. Okay. And I don't think it's ever, my father lives next door to me. We own 20 acres together. And it's a staple of the farm property now. And the landscaping company owns it, but it very seldomly leaves to go do anything for the landscaping company because it's used at home here.
I'm going to have to ask my bookkeeper about that platter and see what he has to say about that.
Yeah. It's been, tell Dan it's been on a tree job or two. It's moved some salt here and there. Like it's
done deal then. Yeah. Done deal. That's definitely an asset under the company then for sure, man.
Yes.
So let's talk about your company. So how did you get into the landscaping end of it from outdoors was going to be obviously something you were probably going to want to do, construction background, farming background. You don't do a hell of a lot of inside stuff in the farm unless you're throwing stuff up on the loft or something.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
So I went to high school. In high school, I decided that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a welder. I finished high school with a certified pipe welder, decided that that's what I was going to do. I was going to go out to Wyoming or somewhere out there and weld on a pipeline and have a rig and never get married and never have kids and go make buku bucks. I was working at a local...
You can make good money in welding.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was working in a local shop right out of high school first year, and the first 90-degree day, it was 130 degrees inside the shop. And I was like, whoa. Nobody told me about welding on hot steel, sweat pouring off you at 130-degree shop. That made me real quick. One day made me rethink the whole thing that I was doing. And there went the welding. There went everything else. I still weld. I still do it as a pastime. I love, fabbing things up. But so out of there, I knew there wasn't going to be a full-time spot for me on the farm. So I went to the local municipality, and I was a municipality hired to throw trash, in the local town. They realized that I could weld and fix things. So there went throwing trash. I think I threw trash for 3 months, and they were like, wait a minute, he's more valuable in the shop. So I became a junior shop mechanic under another mechanic. In 4 or 5 years, he retired. I moved up to the head mechanic, and I was 24 years old, maxed out, and had nowhere to go. Making $34 an hour or something at the time. I was working they worked 410s. They were all Friday. Had like a gravy king job that everybody wanted, and I was unfulfilled. I would come home and be bored. I would come home here and do things, and I would go to work, and I lost interest in going to work and working on projects because I was like, I gotta go up in the morning and go to work. Gotta go to this job that I don't like. Gotta go. It wasn't that I didn't like it. I just didn't feel there was no drive.
No drive because
there was no drive there. I was just a job. I was just punching in, and one day I decided I was done punching in. I had always tinkered in landscaping, and I decided that day it was hot. It was summertime. I was working in the shop, and the supervisor came out and gave me a punch of lip, and I was like, I don't think you're giving the right person the lip that you should be, but I'll take it and I'll show you. And the show you was a 2-week notice, and that's when I started Blades of Steel Landscaping. I decided that landscaping was going to be my way of life, and it's been a very rocky road since. It's had a lot of ups and downs, and then we got into 2016. We started commercial snow plowing, which was a whole nother world of snow plowing because I had only known how to plow roads. I never knew about plowing parking lots. That was
that's a little different. It is.
Yeah. And then the first snowstorm that we went out on our own, we had one pickup truck, one skid steer, one right skid steer. And a friend of mine had a pickup truck that he kind of leased to me. Like we didn't even know. We didn't have an hourly rate set. He was just, you got a pickup truck with a plow on it. I need help. Are you coming to help? Yeah. We'll figure all this out later.
Right.
We went through winter. It was January. My birthday is January 27th, and it was January 25th. The storm rolled in that night. It was Jonas. Dumped 34 and a half inches on us in 48 hours. That was the whole cruise. We were all agreed. We had never plowed a parking lot before in our life.
That's your first job.
And first snowstorm was 34 and a half inches of snow. 48 hours later, I said, boys, I think we got this. And now, I look back today and I would say that, if I'm in anything, I'm in the snow plowing business. Landscaping and everything else just go along with it. We are commercial snow. We have wheel loaders now. We've got we're up to 5 pickup trucks.
Nice.
2 wheel loaders and 5 skid steers. And we're looking to grow the fleet.
Nice.
The fleet again this year. And then we have 4 sidewalk guys that come in and help us. And they all have their own pieces. They're not just using shovels. They're running a actual true sidewalk piece of equipment, whether it's a small John Deere tractor, Toro multi-force with a snow plow on it.
Yep. Nice. That's the way to do that for sure, man.
Yeah. So we're mechanically getting our sidewalks done, a little bit of shoveling steps and stuff, but not much. We don't do much hand shoveling.
So it's what has it been, two seasons or 3 seasons then of snow plowing or what?
So no, that was 2016 when we started snow plowing.
Oh, okay. So it's been,
So it's been,
quite a while.
we've been in the 8 years that we've grown,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
7, I guess 7 years. 7 years.
So what prompted the interest in seal coating and possible pressure washing?
So I get a lot of asking of clients, hey, who do you know that pressure washes houses? Can you recommend someone that pressure washes my house? I want my house pressure washed. And I have 2 guys that I hand their cards out faithfully. I know them really good. And weeks will go by and the house doesn't get pressure washed. And then they'll say to me, do you have anyone else to recommend? Because I've called them multiple times and they don't return the phone calls. And then I go and see them and I'm like, one guy I own the yard that I'm at and he rents a spot off me. And I'm like, dude, what's up with not returning me?
Yeah.
I'm just so busy, man. I can't find good help. Good help's nobody wants to work. There's no good help out there. And I'm like, well, I got 5 guys that show up every day. Like, I got one I need to replace. I'm not gonna lie. I got to talk to Nicky because I got an issue. But but I'm okay. I'm okay right now. Like, we're getting by. So
yeah.
I'm like, don't tell me there's no help out there. Like, I don't know what his deal is. So I was just like, well, maybe this is the writing on the wall that we need to enter the power washing game. And the asphalt. What brings me to asphalt? Just something about the equipment at asphalt. I can use, skid steers. I can have a couple more skid steers. Well, I actually have 3 skid steers that do nothing all summer, and it kills me to see them sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
So they could be out on asphalt doing driveways, and we did asphalt at township, so I know my way around patchwork. We always, we didn't do full roads, but we did some pretty big patches. We would rent a paver from a company. We would have a couple triaxles. We'd dump in it, and I never knew what I was doing. And one day, one of the old guys were like, "Hey, you can drive the truck. You got your CDL. You know how to run equipment. Hop up here. I'm going to be retiring soon. I better teach someone how to run this paver." And I can't say I'm very good at it, but I can run a paver. Were
you doing any cold patch, or was it all just?
So we were doing cold and hot.
Okay.
We would do cold through the winter, the spring, early spring. We would do cold. Winter we would do cold, and fall, late fall we would do cold, and then late spring and all of summer we would stop asphalt right before leaf season, which would be like September-ish. We would shut down the asphalt in September and switch the trucks over, put leaf boxes on, and go to collecting leaves. But we would do patches in the road that were sometimes 500 feet long by 8-10 feet wide. That would be nothing to tear that out with a mini excavator, and I can run an excavator, I can run a backhoe. Actually, my 7-year-old daughter is a mean excavator operator. She's gonna put some boy sometime to be like, hey, I can run one of them, and she can be, I'm gonna show you how to. Dad taught me how to run that a long time ago.
Yeah, she's gonna be smacking one in the head with it.
She's gonna be putting someone to shame on.
That's
on
awesome.
What you can do with that.
That's awesome.
She runs our skid steers.
Does she really? 7 years old. That's incredible.
7 years old. She can climb up the skid steer. She knows the dad's pin code for the Bobcat, and it's got joysticks. She puts the lap bar down around herself, and she can make it. I'm a little nervous about it, but she can. Yeah. She's running in my lap enough that she knows what to do.
Okay.
And the same thing. She started off with running an excavator. She'd sit in my lap for 2 or 3 hours and just watch the joysticks control. And she's not comfortable to run the excavator without me being in the seat. But if I sit in the seat, I don't have to. I can kind of sit in the seat and do this, and she can do dirt from one side at one. Pile dirt from here to there, backfill the ditch. She can kind of get it in the ditch and backfill. So
that's cool, man. And the Bobcat, she's getting pretty good at.
And the Bobcat, she's pretty good at. She's getting pretty good.
That can be a little tricky. I used to operate a Bobcat a little bit, and like the first or second time I was on it, like when I get the confidence going, then I think I know what I'm doing, and I've got a load of gravel up there, and it starts trickling over and knocking me in the head a little bit. That's when I'm like, all right, dude, you don't have that much confidence.
Yeah,
I used to love operating the Bobcat, man.
Yeah, she goes out and cuts the lawn with me. She'll jump on. We have a Exmark 60-inch here at home that we use to cut the lawn. It's an older one that was in her fleet, in the beginning, that we've retired out of the fleet. Okay. It's here at the house, and she'll put her headphones on and be like, hey, Dad, grass getting tall. We got to go out there and cut that grass. And she'll be she'll be in my seat, running the handlebars back and forth. Her lines aren't straight yet. I got to get the line straight.
Yeah.
It'll come with time.
Yeah. She probably can't see over the steering wheel, dude.
I keep telling her, she gets too good at this. It ain't gonna be my job to cut the grass anymore. It's gonna be her job to go out there and cut the grass.
Right. Yeah. And so let's dive into. You've got 5 guys that you were able to get hired, and you've got pressure washing guys that you know real well that don't know what nobody wants to work. And it's that same old thing I always talk about, Doug. I talk to all these guys that own businesses, and the ones that sit there and just repeatedly say the problem, which we all know, tough labor market, we were at 3.2% unemployment, all the stuff that we already know, but I can't get their eye off of that ball. It's like, dude, that's the problem. There's this old cliche, focus on the solution, not the problem. Can we move forward onto the solutions? And it's like pulling teeth to get them to listen sometimes to that. And I get it's hard. It's difficult. I understand that, but there's solutions.
I have, a couple guys are in the pressure washing business. I have a friend of mine that has triaxles, and he's in the excavation and hauling business. And I told him the same now. He's like, man, I just have trouble finding guys. I put ads out on Indeed, and I can't find guys. And then they don't return my phone calls. And I'm like, I got the solution for your problem. I got this really cool company I could hook you up with that would find you work. It's not that big of a deal. They'd find you guys, and you don't want to. That's what I got my wife for. She puts ads on Indeed, and that's the secret. I'm like, okay, Joe, you keep, But yeah, I met you through Dan Plata. I'm a big fan of Turf's Up Radio. I listen to a lot of shows on Turf's Up Radio. I'm very interactive. I'm hoping one of these years to be able to set a studio up in the house and have my own show on Turf's Up, because I think I have a lot of knowledge in the snow industry to bring to the table that I can teach a lot of younger generation and just other, maybe older generation that want to change their ways on what they're doing that, some of us younger guys are doing. Yep. But
I love it.
So that's how I found you. And then I got to meet Nicole, obviously. She's pretty cool. Or Nikki. You could go with, Nicole or Nikki, whatever one you want to go with at the time.
She's a superstar account manager of ours at Higher Lead Chill. She's phenomenal.
Yeah. So that's been awesome. The turning point for me was I had talked to you, I think this time last year.
Yeah.
And I didn't sign up, and then I revisited it in the fall, and I was like, I got to get people hired for snow. And I was going to say I was skeptical of what you could actually do.
Yep.
And I got set up with Nicole. We got set up. We got some ads running. Didn't cost me a whole lot. Didn't have to do a whole lot of boosting. We did a little bit of boosting. And the first round we did, I ended up with 175 decent candidates.
Yep.
Out of that, I learned quickly that a mistake on my end. I interviewed a couple, told them I would get back to them. I really liked them. By the time I got around to getting back to them, my competitor had already hired them, so that was an issue. One competitor that I know personally that we go to lunch a lot of times, I sat down and I told him about this rock star that I missed on because he got a job, and he was like, "What's his name?" Oh, yeah, I hired him yesterday. I'm like, I don't think I talked to him for a week and a half. I was so mad.
That is funny, dude.
And funny story is he kept him for landscaping because this guy was like, "Oh, I'm a landscape rock star. I'll change your landscape world." He got fired today because apparently he doesn't know a thing in landscaping. So maybe I dodged the bullet. So I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But towards the end of winter, I called Nikki in a big panic. I was short 3 or 4 guys. I was pulling my hair out. I couldn't figure out what to do. And she just very calmly, was like, "Oh, we'll boost some ads. We'll see what turnaround we get." And I think it was within 48 hours later, I had 3 people I needed back. I was back to full staff. I was good to go. And I haven't looked back. And I actually they're the guys that I have today that are running with me. I had one that stayed from last year. I had flipped the crews from the previous season. They just weren't getting it and wanted to know, there were some issues that I had tried to coach them on, and I came to, they were uncoachable, and it was time to make a change. Yep. So I had laid them off. I had retained one that was questionable if I should have retained that or not, but that's not my problem.
Right.
She's actually female. She shows up every day. She just doesn't, the cell phone's the problem with her. That cell phone is good. She's younger. She's younger than me. She's early 20s. That cell phone, I can't break the cell phone habit.
That's
Every
tough.
time I turn around, we gotta be sending a Snapchat. We gotta. So
they're
but yeah.
addicted.
So over from starting with you guys at the end of winter, I think we were at 330 candidates. You had got me through winter, which was, quite amazing.
Pushing hard.
Yeah.
And then screening a lot of those and getting a lot of those screened through the
Well, I
system.
think that was, so I don't know because I can't see what the candidates that get kicked out are.
Right.
I only see the ones that made it through. There was 330 that made it through on my spreadsheet that I had called around, and, I'm curious to see how many of them will I call in the fall and want a job for this year, but
we'll
see.
That's awesome. Awesome. And so what sort of things do you do to retain employees? I mean, it's so hard with seasonality. You've got snow plowing is like your main business right now. What do we do in the summer? And then it's kind of, how do you keep them? Is that, are you finding that's a little bit of what you might be making it sticky with the pressure washing stuff coming up, or what are you thinking?
Well, I'm hoping maybe if I, got into the paving side of things, the paving guys work hard. They would they would roll over to the snow side. Well, I guess the other key I left out of this is I've been talking to JC about Christmas lights.
Yep.
I'll be going to Clippas.
I messaged him after a little bit of you and I talking, and there was a question mark on how to get a hold of him, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to him to make sure that he remembered to reach out.
Yes. Yeah. He's been good. It was like, I don't know if he got just busy in Christmas lights or because I was a little frustrated there. He'd reached out and talked to me for a while and then he fell off the face of the earth and I couldn't get a hold of him. And then we haven't talked since Sales Boost really, but we talked a lot leading up to Sales Boost and I'm really interested in Sales Boost next year. But anyway, back to your question. I think the paving side would give me year-round guys that work hard and want to go out and do snow work.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
And also with the pressure washing, I think that that I have a guy or two that if I don't have pressure washing, I can move them over to the landscape side. And then sometimes we end up with where we'll go out like we're trying to this week, hit mowing hard. We have 4 days worth of mowing. We'll be done in 3 days. Now it's going to rain, so the guys can have off. I'm not worried about that. But in my mind, I'm like, well, what if we could mow 3 days? Not add more mowing work on. What if we mowed them 4 days, got them cut down to 3 days, maybe weeded the tour customer out that's not the greatest.
Yeah.
And then them two guys that are out mowing take trailers, not even rigs, but just hook up the power washer trailers with their mow trucks and go out and they go into two different crews. And what revenue am I missing leaving on the table with teaching them how to soft wash and power wash and things like that?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, you got your clients already set up asking you, what's going on. So it'd be easy, I think, to get it started, having the business that you have as it is. Are you planning on going through any type of coaching for that or any type of outside training, or do you kind of have a handle on it and going to try it out and see where you end up? What's your thought on that?
I'd probably do some coaching. I don't know that I would do the training myself because let's face it, I don't need any more on Doug's plate. Doug already has enough on his plate. I don't need. We're now in the name of the game where I need to lessen my plate. So we are looking at this Christmas light. I'm going to go to the Christmas light. I guess the best way I can I'm going to use power washing the same as the Christmas lights. But power washing has only came in my mind maybe since the beginning of spring here.
Okay.
Which is 2 or 3 weeks. So I haven't put much thought into this power washing thing. The paving company's been on my mind for like 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just haven't really disclosed it or pulled the trigger on what I want to do because of the capital income, to buy a paver, to buy things like that. That's why I thought about starting out seal coating. Okay. But I kind of have my plan for Christmas lights. My Christmas light plan is I'm going to go to the Clippa event in August. We're going to advertise Christmas in July here. See if we can't get some bites, sell a job or two. Go to Christmas, the ClipperCon in August, learn how to do that. And then I'm going to try to train 2 guys or have you hire me 2 guys that are experienced in Christmas lights. So I can train them a little bit. And then they're going to be a team to go out and do Christmas lights. That's my plan. So I am not doing Christmas lights. I want nothing to do with Christmas lights. I just want to sell the jobs. I actually don't even want to sell the jobs. I have my wife heading this project.
Yeah,
she's all about the Christmas lights. She thinks it's a wonderful idea. I'm like, let's go add, 250K of revenue to this year to our business. You go sell 250K worth of Christmas lights.
Man, I'll tell you what, it's $250,000 sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But if you would have asked me 5 years ago if Christmas lights was the way to do it, I would have said, I don't think so. I don't know though. Now I'm actually going to be speaking at Clipicon in May.
Okay.
In San Diego. And I've got to know a lot of people in the Christmas light industry. I know somebody here locally in Ohio that does it. Real good guy. He's got like 200 and some clients. And I've got customers that are doing a couple $1 million of revenue just in Christmas lights over a 4-month period. So I'm going 250,000 and your wife's into it, dude. We'll find you a couple dudes and you just take care of that, man. Because it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable, especially if you're tagging along and tagging on to the knowledge of like JC or any of those guys at Clippa.
Yeah. JC's been my only real contact, and I've talked to him. Actually, I'm going to shoot him a message tonight and circle back out to him. I'm kind of sad that I missed Sales Boost. You kind of know what was going on in the background of my Sales Boost time, but I can't wait for 2025 because I am excited, and I don't know that I'm excited it's in Florida because I don't really like the heat. That's why I'm out here in Pennsylvania. But I guess it's early enough in the season. We'll try to suffice.
Right. So what do you do as far as you get these guys and you're able to retain people really well, and that's not usual or common in landscape and in snow plowing. Is tough to retain people, man. You've got on the call, am I working? Am I not? I mean, there's so much struggle that goes into not knowing exactly what's happening and not having anywhere near a set schedule. I'm assuming. So what do you do leadership wise or culture wise or what? Because those are usually it's pay, culture, leadership seems to be the name of the game. What is it that you're doing?
I don't have an answer for leadership. We're working on that. We're working on the leadership side.
Okay.
Pay. We are not the highest paying contractor around. I have a couple of buddies that are much bigger than me that pay considerably better. Okay. This year we are rolling out a new bonus system that I am rolling it out for the landscape and snow removal side. Two different kind of factors, but the landscaping side will be roughly our landscape weeks. We roughly work 40 weeks a year landscaping.
Yep.
So they're going to get a $12.50 a week bonus for any full week work with no time missed, excluding pre-approved doctor's appointments. They take a day off to go to the doctors or take a family member to the doctors, as long as it's not like calling in sick that morning.
Yeah.
I get a couple days notice. We're doing a week notice to be off is our standard protocol. So as long as they do that, or even if it's, something comes up, I got to take a child to the doctor on Wednesday, it's Tuesday. I don't mind the excuse of that. Or you're using your vacation time. We do offer a little bit of vacation time. If you're using your vacation time, you can still benefit. But so the incentive is they get $500 bonus at the end of the year. Every time they call out sick or don't show up, that takes $12.50 off that bonus for the week.
Okay. Nice.
And then on the snow
side, they determine their bonus.
They determine their bonus.
Yep.
It's up to them.
Yep. I love it.
That's and everybody knows what everybody's bonus is because I try to be very fair on what everyone makes per hour, what everyone my books are open. I try to run an open book business.
Okay.
I can go out and do this myself, and I can't believe you're charging $65 an hour and I'm only making 18. And then I lay the books open and I'm like, well, you can pay the $10,000 a year in insurance. You can pay this. You can pay that. You can pay the workman's comp bill. And then all of a sudden, that $18 an hour seems like a whole good deal to go run a mower instead of going out. And so I try to be fair with everyone. Hey, this is the foreman to the lowest guy on the pole. They're all getting $500 at the end of the year. That's your Christmas bonus or, your holiday bonus. It's up to you of what you get if you come in or not.
Nice.
And then for the snow plowing guys, we're going to do a 3-tier bracket for them. And it's going to be for every hour they worked, without calling in. So they're going to get a percentage of, it's either going to be like $5 for every hour they worked, $2 for every hour they worked, or $1 for every hour. Yep. And what is going to determine what tier they fall in is the top tier is you missed 0 storms. So if you miss 0 storms, for every hour you worked, you're getting an extra $5 per hour. That will be I'll give it to them in a Visa gift card or something so I can write it off, but it doesn't go on their taxes or they don't get taxed or whatever. If you miss 1 or 2 storms, you fall in the middle. If you miss, 3 storms or 4 storms, you're going in the lower tier. If you miss more than 5 storms, you're knocked off the tier. You fall in the bottom tier, which is nothing. And that's so that way they can pick what their bonus is. Unfortunately, that one I think I'm going to do. If you're sick, not my problem. Sorry, that's a call. That's because we don't get that many events. We get maybe 15, 16 events a year. So it's not that hard if you don't feel good to get your butt to the doctor, and that's your incentive to go to the doctor and get some medication if you know the storm's coming and you don't feel good.
Yep. What about, do you have a shop or do you not have a shop? Or?
We have a shop. Yep,
okay.
We have a shop. We stock the shop. I have a little refrigerator in there. We orange juice, Gatorades in the wintertime. We have snacks. And then the other thing that I do is I buy everybody coffee. I buy boxes of Wawa. Wawa's our big convenience store. We buy Wawa coffee for the guys.
Nice.
I take it out around to them. We'll be out doing our final clean. We'll be out doing our final cleanup, and I'll go order $500 worth of Chick-fil-A food, French fries, and nuggets, and drinks, and drop. Each of our crews, I'll go and drop stuff off to them, and thank them and appreciate them, and try to take care of them. We give them jackets. If they're planning on returning, they can keep the jacket. They're very nice Carhartts. If they plan on this is the end of the road for them, we ask for their jackets back so we can give them to the next team member. We wash them and then just pass them down. Yep. We provide gloves. We give them a list of things like, before the storm, eat this, eat healthy, don't eat a bunch of junk food, don't, try to sleep well, try to, just give them a guidance of what to do before.
Some wellness plan type of stuff to plan ahead. Yeah. That's a great idea.
To be prepared, because sometimes we don't have enough staff to roll every 10 hours to roll over. So if it's a 40-hour storm, some of our operators are in that seat for, 30, 40 hours. Now that's not straight. We do let them, we will stage in shifts at nighttime. If, things slow down, let it build up. It's fine if it builds a couple inches, on a parking lot overnight, take a 2-3 hour nap. Yep. But you will be, you could be potentially be away from your house for 40 hours. It's not unheard of for us to go 32, 40 hours over a weekend event.
Especially a 30-some inch snowstorm.
Yes. Yeah. So the 30-inch storm we had one in 2021, 22 winter that dumped, I think it was 28 inches in 37 hours on us. And we worked 38 hours straight. I came home I was finished up on a Saturday. I came home. I spent Sunday with the kids, and then me and 4 other guys ran skid steers around the clock, rotating. I was running night crew, and I had a day crew out that we're going from other lots, just relocating, stacking snow, cleaning lots out. People were calling me days later that their plow guy never showed up. Yep. They couldn't get in. They needed their parking lot dug out, and we would go there with a small wheel loader or a skid steer and just dig the lots out. And we ran 7 days like that, of 4 guys around the clock running equipment around, just moving snow and relocating snow.
It's insane, man.
Yes.
And if you get storms like that, you need a front end loader to figure out where you need to store the snow, man. Right?
Yeah.
And
the problem is like when that comes, if you don't have the capabilities of foreseeing or the gambleness in your life, you can you're not going to get a machine. When it comes to that style, we start running things weeks and weeks, or not, I shouldn't say weeks, but a week out, we'll start calling the local runner yards and trying to find where we can find a machine, or where we can find this, where we can find that. Yeah. And just try to get things like that wrapped up and taken care of.
do you guys in Western Pennsylvania, like I live in the snow belt of Northeast Ohio. So like it could snow 1.5 feet here where I'm at overnight. And then you can drive 20 minutes in any direction. I shouldn't say north because you'll be in Lake Erie, but any other direction but north. And it could have 1 inch of snow on the ground. So like we're hit and miss a lot of times. So they might be, you'll hear a meteorologist in here go, all right, we're going to get anything between like 4 inches and 16 inches. I mean, literally that's how our forecast goes.
Yeah. We ended up with this last storm of the season where they were calling anywhere from 0 to 16 inches. And
it's crazy. So
it was about a 10-mile difference in sites. Guys were saying it was hardly laying on the blacktop. There was nothing there. They were there ready to go for nothing. And my other crews were calling and going, man, you told me it was going to give 6 inches. It was coming down so hard. They were saying it was coming down at 3 inches an hour for like a 5-hour window. And they were like, they ended up with 14.5 inches in about 5 or 6 hours. And then like someone flipped the switch, it shut off.
When you do your plowing, and literally by the time you're done with the parking lot, it looks like you didn't plow on half the parking lot, right?
Yes.
And then if the wind's blowing, then all bets off at that point because that's crazy. That's when it gets crazy is when the wind starts blowing. Down.
When the wind starts picking up, and then like what we have out here is we have a lot of warehouses in the industrial side that they buy someone's farm. They put a big warehouse on it, but there's farm fields the other 360 degrees around it in the wintertime with no crops on it. So it becomes like the tundra, and the wind will blow from one side of the warehouse. And I have seen drifts already up against one side of the warehouse that are 10, 12 feet tall, halfway up the door that you got to get in there and hand shovel and shovel off the building. And the nice part about that is that's all extra. So to go in and clean that up, it's, this is what it was to plow. And then we go in for, a per hour time and material rate to clean all that off the side of the building and move that away and restack it somewhere else. And hopefully the wind doesn't change the other direction.
That was a little iffy there. I don't know what that was.
Oh,
we were doing our outro a little too soon there.
Yeah. I mean, we're at time, but yeah, I got time to keep going though.
All right. I've got to wrap up pretty soon. I got a baseball game to go to for my 16-year-old. But let's I can go on for 3 hours if it wasn't.
Oh yeah. I can go on. I can go on all night.
So you've got a lot of different services that you're contemplating on getting into. So,
yes.
When that happens, or when you do something, and when you start getting into it, and if obviously, if you tap into using our services and we find you some people or whatever, if not, I want to have you back on when you start doing that, because it'll be really cool just to go from talking about it, Doug, to, okay, we decided we're definitely going with some seal coating or maybe Christmas lights or both. And then we're, maybe once that starts up, really kind of get you back on the show, whether that's a month or 6 months or a year or whatever that is. Get you back on.
Christmas lights will be fall. Our plan is Christmas lights will this be year in fall. I would say seal coating and power washing would be 2025. Okay. I don't foresee seal coating and power washing coming this year. Our focus for this year is to keep growing the snow side, the landscape side. And this year we've officially entered the fertilizing game. We've always done fertilizing for our clients that we were doing full service landscape mowing for. So we had control of the property, but this year we are focusing on getting out there on the fertilizer side of things. I don't care who you are. I don't care if we just fertilize your lawn. I just want the piece of the pie on fertilizing. And that's the game that we are entering this year. So that's really my drive on focus right now is ramping up. We use Luke Trukin over at SEO, Landscape SEO. Yep. He's got a show on Turf Up Radio. He's our marketing guy, and we're using him to push that hard. Good.
And what's gotten pretty big over the last few years too, maybe 5 to 7 years, something like that, is the deer
Deer repellent.
Is it like repellent? I don't even know how you call it.
I guess it's some type of deer repellent. We're so populated with deer out here, and we're rural that I don't know that
I don't think people would want that. People want the deer coming in.
Well, yeah, I don't know that you could physically repel the deer. I mean, I think the only way you're going to repel the deer out here is well, if you listen to Dan Plata's show, it's always a running joke. The way we repel the deer out here is my wife just hits them out front of the house while we're on live chatting, That's what happens around here with us.
Yeah, but have a gun ready. That's how you get rid of the deer in the rural area.
Or you just use the Jeep. Just use the Jeep. Her method is the Jeep.
That's awesome.
She practices bow. She's all about bow hunting. She hasn't went bow hunting yet, but she's got more deer with the Jeep than she has with the bow. And I foresee that may be the case for the rest of her life. But
hey, dude, however you got to take it, man. However you make it happen. All right, buddy. I got to wrap it up, or I'm going to get in trouble with my girl not watching.
All right. Well, we got to do this again.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll be in touch before fall. We'll hook up doing if you need anything at all, obviously, whether it has to do with recruiting business or anything else, just reach out to me. We message each other. And Doug's a good guy. If anybody out there wants to talk to him about anything, tap him up on Facebook. He's
Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, Facebook or LinkedIn's the best place to get a hold of me.
Courtney Robinson says, "Hey, what's happening?" Dan Plata says, "Hey, we got Doug Brown in the house." Thank you guys for hopping on for a little bit. We're going to wrap it up here. Doug, I'm going to have you back on for fall or thereabouts and see and just talk about where your journey's taking you, man, with the Christmas lights. I think you're gonna nail it, especially if you got your wife behind you and she's getting a little pumped up about it too.
I think she's more pumped up than me. So this is her heading. So I'm hoping
that's awesome.
I'm hoping to get this going good enough. I got to say that one of the drives behind this is she wants to have her own bakery, and I'm hoping to in a year or two, once Jax is a little older, that she can live her dream of I can get the bakery off the ground and going. It can eventually support itself, but it's going to need funding from somewhere.
Yep. I think that's awesome. I think the two of you have it lined up, and I think you guys are going to make it happen. And I want to know about it. And I want to hear about it, man.
All right. Well, you have to send me your address. I can send you some of the. You can do my test sample.
Ain't no problem with that. I'll send you my address. You just send me whatever she's baking, and if she needs an opinion on anything at all, I'm all for it, man.
I don't get to give the opinion because I got to live with her sometimes. It's not the greatest, and she gets mad at me. So
I got a picky eater. He's Ryan, my son. He's kind of a picky eater, but super healthy. But he's just a little bit picky. And I said, dude, if there's anything that you're thinking about doing as a career, you'd be the best food critic on the planet. Trust me on that. So I'll have him taste test some things for us.
Sounds
all right, brother.
All right, brother. Good chat.
You guys out there, I appreciate everybody listening. Hire, Lead, and Chill. If I can help you in any way, find some employees. We're pretty darn good at it, especially technicians that go out and fix stuff, repair stuff, clean stuff, and then trim stuff up or keep it cut up for your clients. Give us a call. Dan Plata will be on tomorrow on Turf's Up Radio. Don't miss that. I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Yep. That's it, man. All right, Doug, if I might be on the show tomorrow, maybe we'll see you over there, brother.
Yeah, I'll be tuning in.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. Take good care and God bless.